Hey guys, welcome back to the Rock and Road Show to my garage. Today we're going to work on the cold intake, the intake pipe, the intake where you have all of your air go in, and this is a Hummer H2. Recently, I had some little boy mechanics that charged me out my ass. They actually charged me a tremendous amount of money and ended up doing nothing in Texas again. Oh, I'm not making it up. They actually scammed me. And they scammed me with a buddy. More than one of them. It's a thing that goes on here in Texas where you get one person's the setup person and they're real nice and real kind and act stupid. And you think, okay, I'm kind of safe with this person. Then the fucking other piece of shit comes in, and between the two of them, they corner you. All right, so what they said to me was, and one goofbag treated me like I was a dumbass piece of shit. This is just recently, whom also called the cops on me. Yeah, out to my place. Yeah, little boy. And he tried to claim he was ex-military. I never saw anything to prove that. I have it all over, including tattooed over my heart. So if you are ever confused or we're standing on a dirt road somewhere, I can just whip down part of my shirt and show you my jump wings are tattooed over my heart. And boy, people shut up when I have to do that. All right, so one of the ways to tell that this is a gasoline engine, yeah, because that was part of the problem and the issue here recently. I was supposed to be so retarded after I owe $61,000 on this truck, and I have been working on it almost 10 hours a day every single day since the day I bought it to get it to run and move after I bought it to get it home, that I don't know what an intake is and an intake pipe is, and I don't know the difference between a gas engine and a diesel engine. Oh shit. Yeah, this has happened in Texas. A male just did this to me again. All right, guys, boys, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of guys watching this because I know guys, you're supposed to like cars. It's supposed to be like part of your birth. You're born with hair and liking cars. I don't believe in that, but that's what they say. You cannot tell what an engine is by the size of your intake pipe. You can put intake pipes on any car on the universe. You should see the ones they have on race cars. Yeah, nothing like this. This is cheesy compared to that. This is nothing. Another way you can tell on a Hummer H2 that you have a gasoline engine, if you still have this cover up on top, which is actually what I call, if you've been watching my channels long enough, what do I call these? The stupid cover, because you don't really need it. It's just a stupid plastic cover that's kind of in the way. In fact, I've re-dremeled this one in the front so I could reach my pipe better. Yeah, I just dremeled a little rainbow hatch there so I can reach this better. Yeah, I'm not stupid. So I don't have to keep taking that stupid cover on and off all the time. This one here says Vortec. It's just a Chevy Vortec engine. In fact, the Chevy Vortec engine that was in this truck is no longer in this truck. This is the High Performance 364. And there's several different ways you can tell on that. I'm not doing that on this show today. What we're going to talk about is intake, the intake. This does not mean it's a diesel because you see a big pipe. You can put that on anything. If you're running a car right now, it's just a regular commercialized stock average car from off the lot. It would behoove you, it would be a great thing to do to figure out how to get a pipe. You're going to have a metal pipe, really good metal, certain types of metal. Stainless steel is usually one of the best to run off the front of your engine, or some cars, I've seen them in the back of the engine, that takes in halo. This is the intake in halo. And so once these pipes are big enough that your engine block can breathe, it will keep it cooler, keep the temperature down. It will help in gas mileage savings because the engine is laboring and struggling and having a difficult time as much trying to breathe. Imagine if you put a pillow on your face. How would you feel all day long, every day? Are you going to run optimal? Probably not. So the manufacturers that make these cars just try to make them as cheap as possible. They don't care if you run faster. They don't care if you really save a lot of gas. They do not care about you. They just want to get the product out, get it down the road, get it sold because it's cute. Okay, so the intake, the bigger they are, the better they are. I don't like the fact that on a Hummer H2, yeah, they did another stupid thing, even though these are an amazing fucking truck, because the pieces of shit in Texas that sold me this truck dumped it into the ocean and then let it sit. And it's hard to tell whether they blew the engine first and then did that, or they did that and then it blew the engine. I don't know. So, yeah. All right. So, what they did with the Hummer H2 was they decided to put that intake up a little higher than a lot of vehicles, but it's still not high enough. When the truck has its hood closed, water still gets in to this side frame here. Believe it or not, it does, because I have choked and sputtered and gasped. That's how I know. Water has still made its way in through the side grill here into the intake box right here. This box used to be closer to the firewall here, shoved in. It's not anymore. I keep tools down in there now because I had to replace the whole entire original intake plastic that was up here because it was busted, rotted, and falling off and falling apart, and it wasn't big enough. This is big. But for instance, the doof bag that, yeah, they actually cheated me out of money. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought I was so stupid that I have a diesel, and I'm the one that painted this. I painted it to match my truck, my color. This size of a big pipe on an engine that you can put on anything does not mean it's diesel. It just means it's getting more oxygen to breathe better and halo. All right, so this is the plastic box here that came with it originally. They had another filtration setup. I got rid of all that. I tore that out of there. I paid several nails. I talked about this on another show, I think yesterday, to come over here with all this expensive. It cost me out my butt. And I tried to buy the Chevy pipe for this one, this particular one that's shaped, just the shape for this one. And it was going to cost me right around $500. I think I got this one as a Universal or an aftermarket or a Ford. I can't remember. And it's close. It was almost the same exact everything. We didn't have to cut the metal, but I did have a problem with the plastic because the plastic just... I don't have a full-fledged shop here. My shop's in another state. And I did not have anybody worth a shit in the Fort Hood area that had a shop and a brain in their head attached at the same time and not on drugs and alcohol. So we could figure out how to cut this stuff exactly and set it up and get it in there just right. So what ends up, so what I did was, back to my favorite stuff again. This is my favorite stuff on the whole planet. And if you see my other shows and you already know what I'm talking about, this is a piece of gutter foam. And the gutter foam, you can get it at Lowe's or Home Depot, whatever makes you happy. And they used to be like $5. They're not anymore. I think they went $10, $15 for them now. And they're not very long. They cut them in size. It used to be like 8, 10 feet long for your gutters. Now they're like only 6 feet long. Yeah. All right, so I shoved it in the bin and tried to build this up because, and I bought an aftermarket, very expensive filter. Yeah, I did. Which I'm having problems with, and a small bug nest. I'm going to put all this together here in a minute. Okay, so, and there's my intake filter. And what I'm going to do here is clean this up. These are just some spare pieces I got with the stupid kit that came with it. Yep, more stupid stuff. It actually didn't fit in the truck, and it wouldn't fit in the truck, and it's not going to fit in the truck. And in a few minutes here, I'm going to put intake fluid in here and clean this up without taking the whole entire thing apart again. Because it is brand new, been taking really good care of it. Except I did meet another dingbat mechanic that had his own shop out of his own house. He said he used to do this in the Army. He was a complete fucking retard. And he was on prescription VA medication and booze. And he took Diebold grease and put it on my mass airflow. I'm not making this up. I was completely broke down for Christmas a couple of years ago on a dirt road. And he had not taken the truck for a test drive after he drove it. Left me broke the fuck down for fucking Christmas. Yup. Because he put Diebold grease on my intake and it got on the screen. I kid you not. And that was a very expensive intake screen. Very expensive. So my filter keeps popping off because they've sold me these really nice, really expensive filter filter pieces, and they're just crap. They're kind of worthless. You have to build something to get it in there. So to supplement, I put the plastic down on the bottom. Oh wait, actually I need a little piece of like a 2x4. Yeah, a block of something, and help keep my intake pipe up. But I don't have that. I don't have a shop. I don't have a decent mechanic worth of shit in Texas. They're liars and pieces of shit. All they're out to do is steal your shit and not take care of you and not help you, not work for you, steal your stuff and lie to you. And then I supplement by shoving my insulation foam up around to try to keep it up and try to keep it protected. And I even put a piece down in here so when the air is still coming through, even though I got a couple tools in there, you are going to get some air, but I don't want big hunks and chunks of bugs and dirt and leaves and pine needles and all kinds of stuff. So I have moved this box a couple of times, and it will move back and forth a little bit, and I try to put the lid on it, and I try to keep this thing up and out of the way as much as possible. What I was going to say was, what they should have done with the Hummers is finish bringing this hose completely out. Yeah, and there's ways to do it. You can even change that reservoir bottle like I was talking to you about yesterday and get a different one from the junkyard, a smaller one, put it in there and run your intake through and come out here. Because I've seen one or two of them in my lifetime. I have seen it. So I know it can be done. Because you do want your intake as high up as possible, because even though I have a 2-inch PML and I have 35-inch tires, it's still not high enough to keep the crap from getting in there. All right, I do not have a sponsor for my channel. I do not sponsor these people, but I want to mention this also as well. The mass airflow cleaner that you use on your system, I recommend mass airflow cleaner, because you can use an electrical cleaner in an emergency. It can be done. But do we really want to play games? And we're not living in, downrange in the sand. We are not overseas. We can do this. So I use my mass airflow cleaner, design specific. I used to work for an extremely high-end company, and computers, and I used to do amazing shit that would blow your mind. Yep, I'm not stupid at that either. And from my understanding, there's different types of chemicals that can go in here, and different kind of chemicals that don't go in here. And that the mass airflow cleaner is designed for this. The electrical cleaner is not exactly designed for this. And that reminds me, because I'm bringing this back to cleaners again. I don't know how I got like that. I don't know. I try all the time. I'm working all the time. I'm 64 years old and I have cancer. And all I do is work on stuff that other people fuck up mostly. But I think I squashed this one because I was trying to move things and change things. And I'm tired. I'm freaking tired. You can clean these as a special cleaner, but the cleaners that they designed for these don't match those. Nova does not. Not a good idea. I don't know why they do that shit. You know what I call that, don't you? Stupid. All right. So, you're going to get to know my you're going to get to know my mechanical language. You might not like it, but I have worked with a lot of men in my lifetime. I have worked with real men. I have worked with real mechanics. We liked it. We understood. We had a great time. All right, so I'm going to put this back together because I have to screw it tighter. On the Hummer H2s, I had to watch these pieces here, make sure they weren't bent down, but just enough for the whales that flop their stomach on top. I've already had that done. And I even told them, you're leaning on the computer chip for the whole entire intake. And they're like, it'll be all right. No, it's not all right. Number one, I don't really have another $1,200 for one of these. Yeah. B, I'm not in the mood to set it up. C, would you not screw up more shit than I already have screwed up and broken up as it is? Thank you. So you have to watch this position so it's out of their stomach way. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up one bit. I kid you not. I freaking kid you not. And it has to be lined up in your system here in just the right position. It's not difficult. This is not difficult stuff. It is not. The screen goes here. You be careful with it. You're not supposed to touch it. No touchy. No touchy on the screen. No, just the cleaner. There's a myth about that, and there's rules on that. If you do, don't worry about it. You're not going to die. Then the chip, then the pipe. And this is just a fitting to fit it all together. Mine runs a little high because I talked about that the other day because it's running close to the fan because I didn't want to research and try to get a whole nother freaking thing going for the freaking fan. That can be done, but I'm trying to go home. And it hits the top of my hood. But like I said, there is no way for me to run it straight out here and then carve through the hood. And it wasn't going to do that. And I couldn't find anybody smart enough for money to help me get it done through the system here. So it's going to stay there. And I'm going to clean it up. And just because you see a big pipe on a woman's truck doesn't mean she's a dumbass. Doesn't mean she doesn't know what the fuck she's paying for and what she's been building for years now. And that she doesn't know what she's driving. And if you don't believe what's under the truck, that doesn't look like. Because this stuff, I'm sorry, but you don't get that type of coil pack with a diesel. And I installed those too. Yeah, and you don't get spark plugs. You don't get spark plugs on diesel, and I installed those too. Yeah, you don't like any of that? You can check by the VIN number. Okay, thank you for watching. Gracias, hola. I'm going to put a PayPal on here eventually, and I could surely use the tools. And I need a good mechanic in the state of Texas. It's not a piece of shit near Fort Hood because the truck is so broken, so bad, I can't go anywhere. And I do not have a garage. This is my garage. Our garage, I arched the trees. I did, yep. Fed them, gave them lots of nutrition. And it's my garage right now. Yep, I kid you not. And I'm fighting to keep that. Yeah, I kid you not. God's garage. Yeah, I fucking kid you not. And I brought a homeless guy out here the other day, tried to hire him. He didn't want to work. And I told him how I was surviving the tornadoes and the hail and the shit and the crap and the stuff and the major rain and the flooding by prayer. I kid you not. You should have seen the look on his face. He was in shock. Because he was in shock at how beautiful my garage is. But I worked my balls off for it. And he's in shock at how I've been surviving in the bush in Texas. Yeah, I'm age 64 with my brand new little dog. Another little 9-pounder. Yep. And we're still alive. We're still alive, but my last dog died. If you look at my old shows, my last dog died, and I have not done a show about that yet, or about her, or about anything that happened. But that was another piece of shit named Brett. Yeah, I kid you not. I kid you not. Brett Hamilton caught the truck on fire and left us at the lake to die. Yep, I'll have to do that on another show.